And it is time for your Anime Watch Club. This week we're talking about Trigun Part 2. We are going from, I believe, episode 10, and we're finishing up to 26. As always, I'm your host, Tyler, joined with Doug and Sean to talk about this confusing anime and give our opinions on it. Gentlemen, back at it.
We are back
at it.
What is going on,
with
fellas?
Confused opinions. Hell yeah.
Hey guys.
Welcome to our hot takes.
Yeah.
They're going to get a little spicy.
Yeah, it's going to be a rough one.
Yeah, so, I mean, we kind of had to figure out where we picked up, because I think we were all in weird places to where, I think we're on, 10 and 12, right? Were we on, 12, Doug?
Yeah. Something like that.
Sean was on 10, and we stopped at, whatever. Because, I mean, it has a weird story structure.
Yeah, it's fragmented.
Yeah, and it's confusing because you don't really know what's vital to the story until you finished it, and you're like, "Oh shit!" I watched episodes that literally had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah,
and you're like,
and you don't figure it out till the end. It gives you that aha moment.
Yeah,
but at the end of it, I still feel like I don't really get what I need out of it.
Yeah,
it kind of puts it in place and in perspective, but it doesn't fully make sense.
Yeah, it kind of goes with our, how we do our little pre-meeting about what we think about it and kind of how we're going to go about it. And to get the story that it seemed like you almost wanted the other backstory.
Yeah, if you're going to give me an origin story, give me an origin story. Yeah. Don't give me a post-origin story that's still meant to be one.
I feel like a lot of the backtracking that was done to kind of reveal, especially Vash's past, was very half-assed.
Yeah, it's why?
Yeah, and you give us a cool scene with him putting a crater in the moon, and then you put him in a room where the same thing is happening just in a different time, and no context. It kind of just takes away from the current scene.
It's like they trickle it from a faucet, and then they just go, "Here's a fucking fire hose."
Well, I think the disappointing thing for me is I think the first half of it, the build up, other than the first 3 episodes, like I mentioned a million times, the build-up was pretty good, in my opinion. I feel like it was building up the right way.
Yeah, it makes you want to watch more.
Yeah, but then once I got to probably episode 17, I was kind of just what the fuck?
Yeah, you're like, oh, that's it, and then you get all of this other shit, and then you're like, what the fuck? How did it? It goes from a western to this straight up sci-fi fucking alien shit. That's the only way I can describe it.
I think that happens in episodes 12 and 13. Because 12, they introduce what's seemingly the main villain, Legato. Who can get in your mind and kind of mind control people.
Yeah, because
they kind of give a little story on him.
Even Vash is very phased. He felt his presence immediately before he even did anything. So automatically, you're right. You're assuming he's going to be the main villain, but you find out he's just an underling. Yeah,
and then in episode 13, titled "Vash the Stampede," it kind of just it's a recap episode.
Yeah,
and then after that, the show seemingly just completely changes lanes.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those arc shifts. And then I know a lot of older animes do this at times too, to where you can tell the manga had a shift, and then this is the anime doing that. But it's harder to explain when you're watching something back to back to back.
Yeah.
Well, as I mentioned, I'm a huge Bebop fan. Bebop, I feel kind of they did it the right way. They pulled it off because it's kind of like that. None of the episodes tie together. The only thing really holding it all together is essentially the crew's backstories, but it was a very shallow dive into their backstories. But towards the end of them, it explains and it kind of makes sense as to why they are the way they are. But with Trigun, I feel like we were saying, it was kind of just half-assed, kind of put together way too fast in that sense. Because even with Vash, the only real thing you got out of his backstory, like especially the episode where it shows like him and Knives being brought into the world and shit like that, it just shows a barely um an understanding of his hatred for Knives.
Yeah,
it doesn't bring a lot more into it.
They kind of tease it, and so what to kind of put it together, I guess, would be what I can guess from it is that essentially Earth was dying, and they sent out these ships, which is called it's Project Seeds, which is basically they're scouring the universe to figure out where to plant this new generation of people. And then of what I've seen, I guess, is like Knives and Vash are, I guess they're essentially aliens, right?
Yeah.
They're plants.
Yeah, because like when later they say that, they're like, you're a plant, and we're like, what the fuck? Like, what does that mean?
You're a towel.
Yeah, you're a towel. Okay. And, basically they have like disdain from them, like disdain for them because they're like these kids that age very differently than humans.
Mm-hmm.
And on the ship, they're like part of the project with it, and then
and that's the chronological story of how it should have been told.
Mm-hmm.
And what annoys me about that is they tell you he's like a plant in like the last episode.
Yeah, it's like
okay, we know they're aliens,
like real quick.
But it's like the first, like when you go back, you see him as like not even like
they're fetuses,
preteens,
like.
Well, it shows them,
they're like in a tube.
It shows them like the fetus version of both of them. But
it does.
Yeah, but this ties in with Rem, which Rem is a big character of it. Essentially, the mother figure to Knives and Vash, of like the morale, like is teaching them the morals of it, of like the world and how it works, because they're aliens and they know nothing about Earth.
Yeah, and there's always. On these ships, each time they've been on a ship, there's always one person like, they're not human, we don't like them, we don't trust them, keep them away.
I was just about to bring that up. Yeah, it kind of showed the conflict between them and the humans, and how Vash was like not necessarily concerned about it, but
he's got the very like optimistic view of the world, and she says that no one deserves to die, no one can take someone's life.
Yeah, and then
so I want to save everyone, and he's the opposite.
Knives just goes the polar direction. And then one thing I was about to mention also, when they have sorry, I'm gonna skip forward like a lot to the last episode here. When they have the gigantic alien arm guns, that's a weird skip too.
Yeah, I was trying to like transition into how it changes from a Western to that.
Well, no, I want to talk about how when they're shooting the guns at each other, though. And I think it's before or after.
You're talking about like how they cancel.
Yeah, but it turns one part turns white and one part turns black. So it's almost like the yin yang.
Yeah.
I noticed that also.
Yeah, I did too.
So it makes sense,
I mean, that's kind of if you look at that, like looking like with Sean, how Sean said that, that's essentially the whole focus of the series in a way, because it's two different views on life and how it is. And like how you can treat it, and then it's kind of him dealing with the like trouble that comes behind that.
Well, yeah, and I feel like the whole premise behind Vash's character is he's constantly being surrounded by people who feel the polar opposite as him, but he's consistently trying to push the
trying to change his like morality, like saying that he's on his high horse.
Even his relationship with Wolfwood, for instance, I feel like Vash's main relationships in the show are all kind of yin and yang.
Yeah, I think that's why Wolfwood's important, is because he's the like almost friendly version of Knives in a way, because he's like living with him, and he shows that contrast of like the mistakes that Vash kind of makes by letting people live. And, like, he's basically taking on the burden of that.
Yeah, he's constantly saying, like, Vash, you would have been dead again if it wasn't for me. You would have been fucking dead. Like, he says that so many times.
Yeah, and that goes, with the whole thing with the Gung Ho gang, and, like, there's like a kid, right? I forget, like, what that kid's name is.
Oh, God.
The caravan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's, like, the main point of conflict with Wolfwood and Vash.
Yeah.
Of like that situation, because
Wolfwood shoots the kid.
Yeah, because Vash is held up, and then he's like, you can't fucking let him live. He's gonna kill you. You'd be the one dead.
Yeah, the Gung Ho Kid had him and Meryl at gunpoint, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe he had the other gunpoint.
And because they showed that too, because don't they show on the ship with Rem and then I forgot what that guy, like the guy with the glasses.
He wasn't.
They talk about like stealing powers.
Yeah, well, they like show. I'm talking about like on the ship when they show like the background of it. Like they show he was holding a gun at Rem, and Rem was kind of like holding up her arms in front of him, and then the guy like ejected him.
Yeah.
And then they show that it's kind of like the same situation, but it's down on the planet that they're on instead of the ship. And it's like you don't know if they would shoot, and he's like, well, what if they do? What do you do then?
And it's the constant. They wouldn't have killed me. They wouldn't have killed me.
It's like, your goals aren't gonna succeed if you let someone kill you.
Well, yeah. Well, then Wolfwood kind of says like, well, how many times are you going to be so fucking sure that they're not going to kill you?
Mm-hmm.
Wolfwood's kind of like almost the voice of reason in like a realistic way.
Yeah, it's
know what I mean.
He's the realistic side of like the world, of like how the world works, and then Vash is the optimistic, like we can all get along type thing.
Yeah, Wolfwood's the realist, and Vash is the optimist.
And that's kind of like, to go with it, is that's the main theme of it, because they also have a scene where they show Vash and Knive as kids. And, they're talking about this whole thing and, like, how the human race basically is survivors and like that. And this is what they did to try to survive. Like, they're desperately trying to grasp at survival and things like that. And they show that through so basically like a spider web. And it's a spider and a butterfly. And then Vash wants to save both. And then he crushes the spider. And he gives this whole story of like, well, do you want the spider to starve? And kind of like that, and shows that, the difference in it. He's like, you're just delaying it, essentially.
Yeah, delaying the inevitable, because if the spider eats the butterfly,
it's dead.
Yeah, and it kind of shows that Vash is constantly being told he's weak for having a positive outlook and a more optimistic outlook on the way he lives.
Yeah, because like you can be optimistic, but you also need to be realistic about goals, essentially.
And then because he has those goals and these theories, the
reason he refuses to kill is because Rem told him as a child, no person has the right to take someone else's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I was gonna say also though is like it kind of explains, doesn't explain, but it kind of shows throughout Vash's whole time, being in the show, that his whole thing is like, everybody that's close to me, either gets hurt or dies. And it brings us back to,
he's the centerpiece of all the pain for him, essentially.
It kind of goes full circle and explains why in the beginning he was consistently like by himself.
Yeah.
Why he was being the lone wolf that he was.
Yeah, and of course, then they show that later too. Yeah, they show that too of like, they start to show the background of like Knives in him, of how they crash, which is like now they finally show the timeline of like his actual age, which is really weird, because I think it's like 130 years or some shit like that.
Yeah, I think it said he was like 128, something like that.
Yeah, so it's like that him and Knives are that old, and like how long they were basically together, and I think it's like, for how many span? It's like at least like 20 something years that they're together. And then they have like that whole issue, and then
Yeah, I think it was 15 years on this planet, and you still care about these people.
Or and like what I did,
Yeah. And then it just all. And
it kind of goes like,
it just bothers
he's like,
me
why
so
are
much
you?
Because it's so just broken.
Yeah, I mean, they're also kind of like, well, like, Knives is like, well, why do you follow me? And then you find out that Vash doesn't want to be alone and stuff like that. And then he kind of, when he goes off on his own, he learns what it's like to be a human and sees that side of the world. And
and it helps build his character into
it's just really quick, and I can see why Doug doesn't really like it, because it is really quick of how they do it, and they try to make it seem like how important it is, and then
It just doesn't answer all my questions.
Yeah, I was about to say, for me, like, everything that happens in Trigun, I feel like things are kind of explained.
Yeah,
but it still leaves me going, but then it still leaves me going, but what the fuck?
Yeah, like the fucking plant gun arms.
Like, where did that even come from, though, dog? Like, no, like, for real, where did that even come from? Like, throughout this whole series that we're fucking watching, all of a sudden it's a backflash episode, and you find out he's a fucking alien plant. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's like they don't even say how they got on the ship. Like, how did they get involved with it, really? And then they make, like, some small remark about, like, that they look like someone that she used to love, and that was it.
And by the way, the power supply on that ship was like a person that can live between realms. I think that's how they described.
Oh, I fucking completely missed that part then.
It was just like a white lady, like in this glowing, like mystical orb that was like the power supply for the ship. And then it was with the puppet master and the pretty much giant mech that looks like Juggernaut.
Oh yeah, that's that fucking weird ass episode, like in between all of them.
And then that ends up getting destroyed, and it comes down. But it's like you just see this like really cool like idea of like a power supply for the ship. It breaks, and then that's it.
Yeah,
like no, like. It's like if this ship came from Earth, what is going on?
Yeah, then
like,
you basically you
trapped
see, like,
a being, an interdimensional being, and used it as like an energy supply. It's just these small things, and I should say that I really like the ideas. Yeah, and I really like the ideas and what they were reaching for. They just didn't present it as well as I would have liked them to.
Yeah, it's like that part could have been at the beginning as well, and then I think like. With that,
why did they shoot it? Why did they shoot it in the series so late?
Yeah, basically, it's like you're getting nailed with it.
These 3 dumbass episodes at the very beginning. Why could they have not thrown that somewhere?
And given me like way more backstory to where it's like, oh shit, that's why they're this, and
maybe
the ship's like this.
Maybe even the first episode.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's that, and then, I mean, it gets confusing because, like, the time that Vash spends with knives, and basically, like, they do, like, shortcuts to it, but they don't show, like, the process of him and, like, why he's creating, like, these weapons, and, like, what Knives is doing, and he basically wants to wipe out all life on Earth except for them. Or, not Earth, but I mean on the planet.
It kind of gives me a similar feeling to what I had with Death Parade, where it's just, like... But what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like why do I care?
But why? Like what? This is all just being thrown in my face, and I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna throw a comparison to Banana Fish again, where it was very fast paced, kept it moving the whole time. Everything was explained like super well.
Yeah.
And I know Trigun is older, and I like Vash as a character. I like Wolfwood as a character. That's about it.
I even liked all the Gung Ho gang. Like they had some pretty cool enemies that were just in and out. Like
useless.
I mean, I like the one I fucking wish more. I wish I would have got to see more of Legato. Yeah, Legato was really fucking cool. Like he had that power like that, and then his whole character is basically I'm gonna make Vash suffer, and this is kind of like I guess this would be kind of the main like conflict and turning point, kind of like that. And essentially he brainwashes this town to kidnap Meryl and Millie, and then forces Vash to kill him, like with his own will. Like he doesn't force Vash to do it; he makes him do it on his own accord.
And he even dies smiling because he knows Vash is going to suffer from the fact that he had to kill him.
But this is where like Wolfwood was right, because it was either Legato or it was going to be Merle and Millie, because he had these townsfolk controlled, and they were shooting at him, and they had guns pointed at them.
It goes to that simple thing too, is like you can't protect the things you care about without like risking your morals to like kill other people.
And I thought that was a good moral too, because sometimes there is no middle ground.
Yeah, you
like
have
sometimes
to do
it is just kill or be killed.
Yeah, and that's like I guess that goes with the whole thing of like Vash is not human, So it's a really human thing he has to learn.
I was about to say it's the human morality trip essentially being brought back into it.
Like, he has to learn that. It's the most important thing he has to learn. And and then kind of it's just like his recovery from that, and then trying to think what else is like kind of important.
Can we talk about Wolfwood?
Yeah, then that's probably the next part is like yeah, I guess that's kind of it, because like it's pretty much just his recovery, and then him trying to like get away from Millie, Meryl, and Wolfwood, and then Wolfwood's like, nah, bro, I'm coming with you. So
but then
he plays it pretty good because he's always like, I'll catch you later, and he's always in the next episode.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. It's pretty fucking sweet.
And then you find out Wolfwood's like the whole reasoning of him going after Vash this whole time. Wolfwood is
I wouldn't say going after, but kind of like being on the same track. Yeah. He's go ahead, Sean. I'll let you explain that. I didn't mean to.
Actually, you know what?
Yeah, it was literally explained in that one of the episodes that Wolfwood is an assassin of the Gung Ho Gang, and that he made a deal with his leader that he would get the top spot in the Gung Ho Gang or whatever if he brought Vash 2 knives.
Yeah.
And
makes sense why he has a giant crucifix named Punisher.
And the whole thing is like he can't kill Vash. He has to bring Vash to knives alive, which is why he clearly hasn't killed him yet. But Wolfwood's whole thing once I forgot his.
Well, that's actually what they. I think they like change it if I remember right, because they were like, you have to bring him 2 knives, and then instead they're like, nah, just fucking kill him.
Well, because that's when he meets up with his. I don't even know what to put him as. He brought him up essentially. He says, he meets up with.
I think his name was Chapel.
Yeah, it's Chapel. That's right.
And Chapel's like, "How long are you gonna, keep going on with this?"
Which, by the way, that guy's fucking weird looking, and he's got a double cross gun, which is pretty funny when you think about it.
Yeah, it looks like he's like wearing those like bathing goggles that 5-year-olds wear.
Bro.
And anyways, he's talking to Wolfwood like, stop with the fucking charade. Just like let's switch it up. Fucking kill him. And then he's like, you'll still get my spot if you kill him. That's guaranteed.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like giving Wolfwood like this guilt trip, like, well, no matter what, you are part of the Gung Ho Gang. And then the guns start fucking blazing.
Which I always want to talk about this too is like the main reason, like, why did fucking half these people bother carrying guns if they're like, I'm not gonna kill?
Well, at that point, Wolfwood started shooting at him. He changed his mind. He was like, I'm over this shit.
Yeah, mine was more like Vash. I'm like, why does Vash even fucking bother carrying a gun?
Yeah. And then
you can kind of tell there's just a morality story going on in the background, subtext going on.
Yeah, and then,
and then, of course, the most important part.
Yeah, Wolfwood ends up dying.
Well, I was going to talk about him banging fucking Millie, getting over the fact of what that giant thing is.
Yeah, I missed that
episode. Not the most important part.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, how can you get to that point?
Dude, I don't know. They're constantly calling each other honey and whatever.
I guess, bro. I mean, fucking that man. You think that's what he
They did it
for,
to. They did it one time to smuggle a girl out of a town.
Yeah.
And then one of the episodes after that, though, it was the episode prior to them banging when they were all riding in the car hover vehicle, whatever the fuck it is. They were saying that to each other still.
Yeah.
I feel like their whole relationship is the kind of contrast Vash and Meryl's.
Yeah. Well, it's like, it goes to like that important thing, because like you said, the actual important thing is that Wolfwood dies like that, and then Vash is like, oh, I was too late, and he kind of shows Vash like, I took that moral standpoint, and look what fucking happened to me.
Yeah, again, it's all my fault.
Yeah, and he is like, great, it's all my fault, and then you get to see Millie's reaction to Wolfwood's death. And then kind of like Vash's side of it and how he takes it. And, that goes with the thing with Meryl too, like, tell him when he gets back type shit, because she's like too afraid to tell him like how she feels.
That part confused me also.
I mean, it's to like kind of show that he has a life full of conflict, and she does that thing of like, you can stay here, and he's like, that sounds pretty tight. It looks pretty tight.
It's more Vash's reaction
Yeah.
to him dying, because right before that they have their own little duel. They talk, and this is kind of where Vash realizes that when he finds knives, he doesn't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah, and that goes. He keeps having Rim's voice pop into his head as well, to where it's like, take care of knives, type thing.
Yeah.
And he kind of realizes like, I'm probably gonna have to kill him.
Yeah,
talk about PTSD. I'm going to take care of him.
Yeah, well, I'm taking care of him.
Yeah, he says that, and he's like, I'm definitely taking care of him, and he shows him pull his gun up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is also where he gives that last little chat, like, hey, you don't have to kill someone, like killing's, it's not right. So
just sometimes it can be,
and then it turns out, he ends up, they break the duel off. Then two of the other gung-ho gangs start attacking. That's when Chapel shows up, and that's when Vash has to go find, what was his name? Kane?
Yeah, Kane the long shot.
Kane the long shot. And just as a side note from the point I'm trying to make, he just shows up there, and then he ends up shooting himself in the head.
Yeah, like
nice, cool.
Yeah, it's like a distracting thing that happens, and you're like, okay.
Like, oh, you got me. Bam. But that's beside the point. That was just fucking ridiculous in my opinion. But between Wolfwood and Chapel, they end up shooting each other. And then Wolfwood kind of has his moral high ground where he's like, I'm not gonna finish this.
Yeah, he's like, maybe I'm the one who's wrong, because like nothing has basically gone right in my life either.
Well, yeah,
so he kind of tries Vash's route, and then.
Well, yeah, while he's bleeding out, he goes to the confession.
Yeah, and he's like, he talks about, because I think that episode's called Sin, if I remember right, too.
Yeah,
I believe.
I can't remember exactly.
No, it was Paradise.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was Paradise. That's right. Yeah.
But Vash's reaction, I mean, maybe he wanted to seem a certain type of way for Millie and Merle. But he just had no expression. Like, it almost seemed like it didn't matter. And I was really confused about that. Maybe I just missed something in that whole equation.
Well, I think it goes with that, like, empty feeling. Because, like, he blames himself for a lot of things. And then, that goes to the point where, after he has to fucking, kill Legato. That, and then he basically
like
has the outburst. And it's like, it's about, like, everything. I don't think it's just, like, that he killed someone. It's that, like, of what's happening.
Yeah, he's overwhelmed.
Yeah.
All these human emotions. Wah.
Yeah. It's a bitch, ain't it?
Yeah. Must suck being 125.
Yeah, and it's like, I think that kind of goes with it too. It's like, you're basically gonna see people die because you're not human. You're gonna see all this tragedy.
It was cool how Wolfwood kind of saved his ass in the final fight of the show, also, even though he's dead.
I think we could talk about that now.
That is pretty much, it's pretty much at the end.
Yeah.
It's only a few episodes prior, and not much happens before that.
Yeah, it's like I said, a lot of it's the recovery of Vash after, like, Legato forces him to kill him.
Well, it's the recovery of Vash, and then they go to that town where they let him and Millie and Meryl stay in that house, and then they find out,
that he's Vash the Stampede.
Yeah, you guys got to get the fuck out of here, or I'm going to kill him, or something like that.
Yeah.
Which is a funny change of pace, because the whole first half of the series, everyone's like, wait, that's Vash the Stampede?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
And then this one delivery guy comes back, sees him for a second, not
that
even how
guy.
he usually looks.
Yeah.
And just like, that's Vash the Stampede.
Yeah.
And then also there's some side notes in there where, Vash is like, I got to find Rim, to figure out what to do.
Yeah.
He's having a mental breakdown after he kills Legato, because his whole thing is not to kill anybody.
Yeah,
even though,
like, trying to figure out his next move, and then he's kind of like it has like flashbacks of his life.
And then after that, he kind of figures out what he needs to do, and that leads up to the final episode of him going to finally have a showdown with knives.
Yeah.
which was a pretty awesome fight. I'm not gonna
it
lie.
was cool.
It was a really good fight.
We can kind of, because like I said, we kind of talked about the yin and yang thing of how that shows is, like he has to face Knives, he has to face him like the same way, and like they both shoot their plant gun nuke arms at each other. That's the only way I can call them.
Well, they originally start shooting at each other with their regular guns, and then finally, Knives is kind of like, fuck this shit, and he turns his gun. What?
I was reading this thing because it's like the wiki thing just to keep me on track for episodes. Yeah. And they're called angel arms, by the way.
Oh yeah, well that makes sense why his has wings on it.
Which is also funny that I said Evangelion because those things are called angels.
Yeah. So I mean, they started off by shooting their regular guns, though, and then
like ran out.
Yeah, Knives was like, "Fuck this shit," and then he transformed his arm to what you saw previously. He did that to Vash. How he blew a hole in the moon. Knives does that, points it at Vash, and then it sucks them into a black hole. I believe it sucks them into a black hole.
I thought it canceled it out.
Yeah, I thought it canceled it.
Well, Vash pulled his out also, and that's how it canceled out.
Oh, I thought it was just like a cancel thing.
Maybe, I don't know, but all I know is like a black hole pretty much happened throughout the yin and yang mega explosion.
Yeah,
and
and I mean it's that, and then it pretty much it like cuts out too of like Knives down, and then you just hear a gunshot, don't you?
Well, no,
he just like shoots all his limbs. Like he doesn't kill Knives.
Well, no, there's something that happens beforehand that we forgot to mention. Is that Knives actually shoots him one or two times, and then that's when Vash is on the ground, he hears Wolfwood's voice.
Oh
yeah, they did play a weird game of Russian roulette.
And then Wolfwood
guns in each other's hands.
Wolfwood was like, "Hey, you idiot! It's right next to you. Use it." And then all of a sudden, Vash picks up the motherfucking Punisher.
Yeah.
Blast fucking Knives.
That motherfucker dang on me, bruh.
Yeah.
And then after that, while Knives was down, that's when Vash was able to blast his limbs. And
I am curious to see what dual angel arms do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did have the dual angel arms out. That's right.
I mean, yeah, I guess
like, pretty badass.
Fucking technically, like he could keep the peace when you think about
it. I mean, but were they better than Akimbo 1887s from Modern Warfare 2?
Yeah, I mean, also,
did he have Commando?
That, or the Raffica? Either that, or you have the Rafficas.
G18s, Scavenger Pro.
Yeah, I'd like to see you get away from this one-man army noob tube strat of my double angel arms. Get fucked, nerd. I'll see you on Rust.
1v1. Dude, what if Knives and fucking Vash met up on Rust? That would be some shit.
Knives is camping fucking the top mid.
Yeah, top mid.
Pussy.
Quick scoping him. He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
So anyways, Knives goes down. Vash doesn't kill him. Surprise. Shocker.
I mean, I thought they like flashed away. Maybe I didn't. Was there like an after credit thing?
He did shoot, but he shot the ground right next to his head.
Was that after?
They panned to his. No.
Oh, okay.
No, it was before. They panned to his face, and you saw a bullet hole in the ground next to his head.
And then Vash picks him up and starts walking away.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I did see that, but I thought he just killed him. Oh my god! Like that was fucking.
And then back in the town where they were staying, Millie was working on that well the whole time, trying to get to water. Yeah. Right as that happens, water fucking spews from the well, and everybody's like,
"Yeah, dude." She did the the two middle finger type thing, and then just
And I guess we should ask how this connects. Yeah. And my answer is I have no fucking clue. Good luck.
It's a desert town, so now they got water.
I'm glad that was important to the story.
the planet is saved.
Millie says to Meryl when that happens, she's like, "Okay, well, are we going to see Vash again?" And then Meryl's like, "Of course we are. He always comes back."
Yeah.
And then boom, ending cutscene. Boom.
Yeah. I guess that also makes it to like of like he's going to come back. They're going to basically make a life there, and then the place is actually sustainable because it has water.
Yeah. So it shows the promotion that it'll be more sustainable land, more prominent for human life.
Yeah, they can.
I get
help
that
other people type shit. Yeah.
But Vash has like a moral learning. Like he says, "Ram, I'm not gonna listen to you. I'm gonna listen to myself now." And it's like Well, what does that mean? Does that mean you're gonna listen to the instinct of if I need to kill someone to save for the better good? Like, is that what he means when he says that? Because I still didn't really get
Yeah,
that.
I mean, it's like
Because
a
Knives is
weird
still
thing.
gonna want to kill humanity, so you might as well just kill him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's just a morality thing, like depending on how you are as a person. Because like if you got fucking Plant Hitler, fucking kill Plant Hitler.
Yeah.
Fuck. You think he's just gonna give it up?
I just feel
it's like a weird area of it. It's like, why would you let that guy live? Kind of thing.
I just feel like there's supposed to be more to it.
I don't know. I think if he would have just blasted Knives and been like, "Yeah, fuck you, dog," I think it would have made more sense. Yeah.
Well, that and I feel like it would have showed almost Vash overcoming his sense of humility and being like, he did it, but for a good reason.
Yeah, it's like, what I mean? the planet will be fine if you're not here, and I'm gonna save these people.
Yeah, and not all killing can be bad.
Yeah, I mean, he still has a logic of don't do it mindlessly, do it for a reason. Like, if you're gonna do it, make it a good cause.
Yeah, and I was telling Doug this also. I think the show got canceled.
Did it?
Yeah, I believe the show got canceled. I think it was supposed to go on longer, but I think I read it somewhere that it actually got canceled.
Actually,
that would make sense.
Yeah, I think that actually makes a lot of sense. Because kind of like how we said is it seemed like there was always something missing.
Yeah,
and maybe that was the point. Because newer animes are more aware of they can only have one season.
Yeah.
And so they don't do it they make sure they can they basically stay towards it. And
they make sure
that's
off.
A season. If it gets picked up, it gets picked up. If not, it's in the fucking manga. Read it.
Yeah. But I mean, and that would make a lot more sense too, because in the beginning they for one they kind of dilly
dally.
Excuse my fucking not being able to speak English. They dilly-dally with the story, and then they start throwing in fragments of story, and then as soon as it seems like they try to piece it together, it's like, all right, here's the smallest bit to kind of, satiate some part of it.
Yeah, attempt to piece it together. It was very back and forth.
Yeah.
It wasn't the backtracking and everything really didn't move things forward, in my opinion. It left me more confused about a lot of things.
Yeah, so there's multiple publications for Trigun. So it was ended because it says because the magazine where it was published, Shonen Captain, was canceled. It says the anime is based on Trigun only, as the air date was the same year as Trigun Maximum started publication. It says you'll notice the anime diverges from the manga quite a bit.
And that makes sense too. It seems like a lot of newer animes.
Yeah,
they're trying to take as many liberties.
Adapt instead of basically just wait, did I say that wrong? Yeah, they basically I was gonna say they basically tried to make it their own and wrap it up without that ending instead of just adapting it page for page.
Right. But man,
Trigun.
Manga did so well for a reason.
Trigun. I mean, I kind of get it. I think if there was better structure, I think I would have felt better about it.
I get it.
What I think is, I think this is a really good story that just needed to be told a little bit better.
Yeah,
it's almost like me trying to explain an episode.
Important. Yeah,
I can agree to it. I can agree to that completely. Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the basis of it. It's just the whole watching of it was very confusing at times.
Yeah, it's sometimes. I mean, it's weird too because at times because I don't read a lot of manga, but sometimes I'm I'll watch something and I'll be like, man, I really wish I was reading this instead.
I feel like Trigun is definitely one of those for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That'd be my guess. I mean, never having read it You know.
I wouldn't say it's bad, but as much as I was having a good time watching it, I was also having an equal amount of time being confused.
Just whenever I realize that, like, I'm a little confused, I'm like, am I missing something that has more, like, information, like, in a manga?
Yeah.
And it's usually true. Like, that's what you're missing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, still decent.
Presentation is everything.
Yeah. I think structure, like, presentation and structure really matter.
Especially when it comes to anime.
Yeah, and, like, pacing and stuff like that, you know. And if you're going to have something that's, like, story heavy, you better present it well.
Yeah, the pacing wasn't bad. It's just the way it was told.
Yeah.
It was timelined very weirdly.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that'd be like what I'm saying is pacing, I guess.
And I think if it was executed properly, it would have been a really good way to do it. Because it did have me asking questions. It kept me wanting to know more.
It did make me care more at the end.
But when I got this is supposed to answer the questions, like, okay, well, I have more questions.
Yeah, it's like, great.
It's like, all right.
Can I hear about the fucking project and why it started and why they're like this or what they are? And I don't really understand.
Yeah, and if anyone out there listening, if we're just dumb, let us know.
Probably possible, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Dude. My fucking brain's melted from watching hot tub streams, so it is what it is.
Yeah, mine's melted from grilling 2 days in a row.
Yeah, just inhaling the propane.
And
God, that propane's good.
In that Florida heat, boy. It's summertime. I don't have a pool.
Yeah.
I have a water hose.
I got a hose. Yeah, that's I'd say that'll about do it. It's probably like an average to me. Like most things land on like a 7 for me most of the time. So
I'll give it a
7.
Yeah. I give it a 7. Just because I feel like it was going in a really good direction, and honestly, if we read the manga, I bet I would feel completely different.
Okay, so this is the best way I could describe it. Like, you're on the highway, right?
Yeah.
It's a straight line. You're going.
Dude, I already know where he's going with this.
Right, and then all of a sudden,
some dickweeds in front of you.
You have some guy fucking pulls in front of you, slams on the brakes. You got a squiggle everywhere to avoid him, and you just keep going back and forth and squiggling, and then you get off the fucking goddamn highway at some point and get on the grass, but all of a sudden you jerk your fucking steering wheel to the left, and you're back on the road, and then finally you're just cruising. Again.
Man, fucking Sean is talking really fast.
All right, cool. Now my rating is a fucking 2.
Yeah, 2. Fuck you.
Yeah,
Florida traffic.
I was just thinking, because like when he started saying that, I was like, yeah, it's just like when you're driving in the fast lane and you're fucking vibing at like 85, and then you come up on some minivan that's driving 60, and he won't get over, and you're like, get over. And then it's like, all right, well, fuck it then. I'm going to get over. And then they get over, and then you're both in the same lane again, and you're like, you're fucking kidding me. You're dead.
Yeah.
And then you gotta kill him. And then you gotta take your plant gun, arm nuke, and then fuck him up.
And then all of a sudden it has the symbolic meaning of yin and yang, because your fucking past life is coming back to haunt you, and you gotta take care of all of your business.
And I realized those weren't Sour Patch Kids. Those were edibles, and I ate the whole bag.
And what's this? A state trooper pulls up right behind you and is tailgating you at the same time?
And he's got a nose bigger than Squidward's?
And there's no white left in your eyes.
This is like straight black. Your eyes are just full black.
And that was Trigun.
Yeah, that's basically Trigun. So,
great attempt at what I would assume to be a good story.
Yeah.
No. Let me rephrase that.
Man.
Bad attempt at what would be, I think, a great story.
It had all the potential.
Yeah.
It's like when we went to Texas State, Brazil, and they wouldn't bring that filet mignon that we kept asking for.
Until the end when we were all full.
Yeah, then we got a taste, and then they just kept bringing the sausage, and we're like, no, the filet mignon, damn it. And
then by the time you get the filet mignon, you're like beyond full, and your stomach feels like it's about to explode.
Yeah, bro. Like, that's kind of what it feels like.
And I was drunk off of a bottle of red wine. You can barely hold the steak anymore. I'm trying to get it off the skewer. Like, fuck, dude.
Yeah, and then we're just gonna keep on going on. And next week we're gonna figure out what went wrong with season 2 of One Punch Man. Have a good one.
Oh God,
it was everything.
Everything. Yeah.